on your nerves to delay you getting out the office. You got to get in the car at the right time. You got to hit the right lights. All these things need to happen at the exact same time for you to get to the story and then hopefully get the accurate story. So when you're here today, you're getting direct information about what's going on. We talk about what's happening collectively. I know you'll hear it later on. Winning the future. Say that. Winning the future.
Winning the future.
I'm more excited about that. Winning the future.
Winning the future.
That should be on your T-shirts, your church bands, your church hats, wherever you go, because that's a real mindset that we have. Here's why you can understand what winning the future is. Two reasons. One, who has a kid? Raise your hand. Okay. You made a determination by putting your kid in school and keeping them in school that the investments that you make with that kid will lead to them winning the future.
That's right.
Number two, who has ever had to go through the experience of, you have some bills, and then sometimes bills get tight, and then you got to make some quick decisions about what you're going to pay, but other things you're going to keep paying the same way. You're making that decision because you can't lose right now because you want to win the future. Now recognize, we didn't say win the future, it's winning the future. No one wants to just win one time.
Right.
I mean, the Heat could be all good and all, but they only won 2 games. Right? That's real talk right here, right? I'm from New York. We got swept, so you don't have to talk about me. Right? We had a rough moment. Don't worry about that, right? Don't worry. When we get Chris Paul, you won't be saying anything. So winning the future signifies that we have to keep building. And the reason why you're here today and why it's so important is because a lot of people don't know what's going on. When we talk about the Recovery Act and that 3 million jobs were created to save you last October because of the Recovery Act, you need to tell that story. Because there's someone in your community who is a teacher who had their job saved because of state stabilization fund. When we talk about what the Minority Business Development Agency is doing, of $7.2 billion going out in grants and financing to minority business. When we talk about the Women-Owned Small Business Rule, how now we're focusing on 83 industries where women are underrepresented. When we talk about all these particular things, well, Cobell, Pickford, whatever it may be, there's something going on that's helping somebody. When someone talks about health care, look, I was born with a heart murmur. My mom was a breast cancer survivor. My daddy worked in the emergency room for 29 years, cleaning hospitals. When we talk about health care, you should take this personally. Right. Because there are things that are going on that impact our communities that you need to tell a story about. There's someone in this room who is a senior citizen who got that $250 check. There's somebody in this room who is a young adult who can stay on their parents' plans at age 26. There's something going on, and you have a responsibility. We don't need you to keep coming back if you go back and don't tell anybody. That's right. There's a responsibility with leadership. The president told us about 3 years ago, he was telling us a story about why you should always stay motivated, and he said, he's right. When we're talking about, when we talk about what's going on, the reason why you should care, he said, Magic Johnson said something once. I don't care about conference championships, I care about titles. Some of us can care about the little things and just stay focused on the little petty things. What we are here, why you are here, is because you're trying to do some game-changing things. And we all know that there are amazing things that are going on that people don't know. So tell the story. Our job, I'm one of the liaisons here. I direct our African American outreach and our minority business outreach. And we all are a part of a collective team where we have these huge teams. It's me and an intern. Who I share, by the way. So Mike Blake can only go so many places. Cal Modi can only go so many places. Kyle Learman can only go so many places. Darian Page can only go so. But you are there all the time. And it should get to the point where you are so empowered that you can tell the story. So you're going to hear this over and over again about the importance of you, but I'm not shortchanging that. Think about collectively, just think about this year alone, when people organize around the world, what happens? When people in communities decide to take control, what happens? When you decide to get serious about things, what happens? See, this is important for me because I remember my mom always telling us this story. My family's from Jamaica. And when she wanted to be a nurse, that's all she wanted to be. She couldn't take the nursing exam because my uncle didn't get there in time with her birth certificate. So she literally had to sit outside and watch the exam. We don't have to do those kind of things in this country. Because we have more control, we have more ability. But if we sit on the sidelines, community is going to get hurt. I was just in Fort Lauderdale yesterday. And I said to them, and I said the same thing to you, I need you to be dream realizers. Sometimes we think about that in some sort of broad stroke and think, well, what is that about? When someone gets a job, they're not just getting a salary, they get dignity with that. They're able to get that home that they've always been wanting to have. They get to send their kid to a school that they've always been wanting to send. Things start happening when you get serious about being a dream realizer. That's what we need for you to do. I brought this book in because I've been kind of crisscrossing the last few weeks, and I was in Denver, and this woman comes up to me, Patricia Duncan, and she said, I saw that you were coming here about 3 weeks ago, and I literally made sure I was going to be here today to show you this. She said, I know that the president has been doing amazing things, but not enough people know. And she put her money together to literally create a book of accomplishments on her own. Patricia's not the only Patricia. If you go back home and the papers stay in your book, your community is hurt. Anybody can be a leader. That's a real nice title for where you work afterwards. So, my last two things. Number one, if we're going to get serious about all this has nothing to do with politics. Let's be very clear about that. You have to mobilize people and do some things right now to educate people. Number two, I just want you to think about a final anecdote before we bring up the boss. You always got to keep the boss happy. Right? There's a photo across in the West Wing, which always kind of sticks with me, of a little young boy who's stretching out his hand to the president. And I asked Darian, I was like, what's the story behind that? And she said there was a family of a retiring staffer who, usually we try to bring in some staff for photos. And the young boy said, Mr. President, I just got a new suit. And I just got a haircut. And I wanted to know if my hair felt like yours. That's the magnitude of the moment right now. Mike Blake I don't matter. It's not about me. It's not about any of us. It's about you. And more importantly, it's about the kids who are looking up to us right now. So that's why we do this work. That's why we need you. That's why I say thank you to you being here, for taking the time to learn this information, to get mobilized, and to educate our communities about what's going on. Winning the future is not just a phrase, that's a vision. And so with that, with the humble honor that I have of working here,